Okay, we are live again, and you'll have to excuse my background. I'm just in a corner of my writer's office, but I can adjust the light a little bit. That should be better, I think. Now, I'm going to give it a few seconds so that people can join the chat. While we are waiting, let me just say that this is my live streaming channel, and I think most people come here from my main channel. Links to all my YouTube channels are in the description to this live stream. Um, and Hi there, Jen. Always good to see you. And by the way, you can find all sorts of information and links in the video description. Um, yeah, well, we're going to talk about a sensitive topic today, and it could be very short. I could just say no, finished. But I'm going to explain why. Um, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I do have some, and a lot of people are saying no. Yes, I think we all understand that the simple answer here is no, but let's talk about, um, let's talk about why. Because we don't have to get emotional about this. We don't have to, we should not, absolutely not be hateful or anything like that. We can just look at the facts, okay? Um, and while this is, I need to say that what I'm going to say here is, and it should be obvious, but I have nothing against people who choose to live their life in a different or alternative way, as it is not, if as long as it's not harming other people. Yes, I know it's bad lightning, Paul. You will have to tolerate that. um and we have to respect that people are different, and that's fine. It's wonderful. But in sports, it's like we need to have rules so that it will be fair. And we have lots of rules in sports. Um, we, of course, and one of the a group of rules concerns what we call in sports doping, like when people take, you know, different drugs so that they will perform better and so on, and that's illegal. Um, and every year, a lot of so-called athletes, because in those cases I don't call them athletes because they are just cheating. They get caught taking, typically steroids and things like that. So clearly, there are rules in place concerning hormones, like hormones that you take, like artificially. There are rules in place, and there are rules in place because it needs to be fair. So, um, a lot of people are saying that no, they should not. And I wrote biological males in the title, first of all, because I want to avoid the trans and then gender issue, because I will get demonetized and possibly worse here on YouTube in an instant for even mentioning that. But they are biological males. You know, there are people out there, lots of people out there, who will um, try to avoid that fact, but they are. If you're born a male, you're a male, and you can never change that. Your biology is there from the start. You can't change that. I will say that we should have, we should even celebrate a diversity when it comes to people, how people are, because we're not all the same. We are different, and that's wonderful. Um, but you are either male or female. You can't. Well, actually, I think there are some very rare cases where there is uh, biologically unclear, I think, but that's not what we're talking about here. Um, so, because it's so very rare, but we're talking about that most people, almost everyone is either male or female, okay? But then some people choose to take hormones and um, appear to the best of their abilities as the other sex. Okay, so and to reply to some of the comments here, there are sports where there is no need to have a separation between the sexes because darts. I think also archery, um, and what else? Chess, maybe. Like a lot of sports where there isn't really a difference between men and women there. There should be no reason to separate men and women, I think. But that's not, again, not what we're talking about here. So now people have joined, and let me get to the facts here. There are two main reasons why it will never be fair uh, for someone who is born a male, a man, not born a man, but born male, a boy, to compete in women's sport. One is your bone structure and your muscle development and your whole physiology. It is very different in a man compared to a woman. And I shouldn't really have to explain that, because if you just look around, even now, with the hormone crisis, the low testosterone levels and all that, even now you can clearly see that there's a huge difference. And when someone at some point in their life chooses to take hormones, possibly have surgery and so on to appear as a woman, it doesn't change the fact that they have already the bone structure and muscle development in place. Um, so that's one reason. The other reason, and this is the part I haven't seen anyone talking about, and the only people that have talked about this on social media, they don't get to the facts, and they should. Hormone levels. Let's look at the rules here. Okay. IOC. The IOC says that if a transgender, someone who was born a male, wants to compete in the women's sports, that person needs to have a testosterone level, and pay notice now, testosterone level lower below 10 nmol per liter. Now, this is you'll have to excuse me because I'm using the NMOL per liter. I think it's per liter. We use a different terminology there in Europe. I'm being very kind now because I think there are mostly people in America watching this. So 10 nmol/L. Okay, 10 needs to be below that, and it needs to have stayed below that for the past 12 months. Now, does anyone know what the normal testosterone level for a woman is? No, don't Google it. Don't Google it. And Exotic Water says that's extremely low. It is not actually. Many men, many men, many males have that and lower. I wouldn't say that's very healthy, but it is. Do you use NG per deciliter in America? You know, okay, that's not the point here. Um, Please keep in mind that the normal testosterone level is much lower than people think. I don't know why people, I don't know, maybe people are trying to brag about their testosterone level or something like that. I don't know. So, okay, let's get to the facts here. For someone to be accepted as a competitor in the women's sports, if that person was born a male, the testosterone level needs to have stayed below 10 nmol per liter for the past 12 months. The normal testosterone level for a woman is between zero point 0.5 and 2.4 nmol/L. I'll repeat that. The normal testosterone level for a woman is between 0.5 and 2.4 nmol/L. So some simple math here is telling us that the limit for a transgender athlete is at least 400% higher than the upper level for a woman. Okay? Is that fair? No, it's not. I think there is a reason why they haven't put the upper level for a transgender competitor at the upper level. No, the limit at the upper level for women, like 2.4 nmol/L. Why haven't they done that? They should have, because this is clearly not fair. It's like most men today, it depends a little bit between, depends a little bit concerning your age and so on. But most men today, they don't have as high a testosterone level as many people claim that they have. And most people I've looked into this have, I think, what is it now? Is it between 8 and 20, around that level there? And so, I mean, there are many men out there who appear as men who have no problems with sexual drive, muscle development, and so on, who have actually below 10 nmol/L. And that's now, I will say again that I think it's not so healthy to have if you have 10, it's, in my opinion, too low. But here's the point: if you go to a doctor and you have 10 nmol as a man and you have 10 nmol/L, if it's a wise doctor, that doctor will say, okay, you need to change your lifestyle. You need to drop some body fat, and you need to live a healthier life, get more sleep, and so on. And then we'll measure again, and hopefully your testosterone level will be higher. But if it's not, and if you keep trying and doing your best, that doctor will prescribe probably testosterone replacement therapy. But not all doctors will do that. There are many doctors out there who will say that no, no, it's not, it's no, it's still okay. The label is still okay. And then you have males who lower their testosterone level to get below 10 nmol/L so that they will be accepted as females in women's sports. So now I hope that I explained correct. I did explain correctly, but I hope that you all got the point here. Facts matter. Um, Facts matter, and it's not fair, um, because they can have more than 400% higher testosterone level uh, than the proper females in their class. So clearly, this is not fair, and they should not compete against women. And I'm not saying this just because it's my opinion. I have now looked at the facts, and the facts are telling me that this is not fair. It is very difficult to argue against this. When you look at the facts, it is clearly not fair. I do not like, well, I see some comments here that are not so nice. It is, it's just, you know, it's, okay. Two things I want to say here. Okay. I think we should be kind. We should not be, we should be kind, and we should be nice to people who are different. Okay. At the same time, we should clearly be able to say that no, you can't compete against women because you're a biological male. Now, if someone comes, across as a woman, and wants to um, appear as a woman, I would have no problem with that. I don't know anyone like that, but I don't think I would have a problem with that. It's that person's personal choice, and I would respect that. But again, it's not a human right to compete in any class you wish in sports. Um, so this needs to stop. And in fact, in several sports, they have said that we do not accept this. We will not accept it. My sport, powerlifting, is they have not accepted that. You can't be well, maybe in some countries, I don't know, but in powerlifting in Norway, you can't compete in the women's class if you were born male. That's no, that's not legal. You can't do that. Um, and my other sport, which is traditional archery, I can't see. I might be wrong there, but I can't see that gender matters at all because women are. I think I'm quite certain about this. They are just as good archers as men. So we, you know, so that it's not an issue there. But they do have rules there as well, and I did look into it, and they actually, the Norwegian Archery Federation, they follow these crazy rules actually. But I guess it doesn't matter there so much because it's archery. It's not powerlifting. No, not pole lifting, power lifting. So the other thing want to just comment on here is, and I think this has to do with, and you'll have to forgive me for saying this, but there seems to be a thing in, especially the USA, um, that you're so liberal over there. Why are you so liberal? You're really liberal. You shouldn't be. Concerning taking testosterone, it's like it's not like taking vitamins. Okay, I have never taken testosterone, and um, uh, qualifies as what we call a lifetime drug-free athlete. And if you want to know, my testosterone level is high, and I think that's because I live quite a healthy life. And I'm in my 50s now, and I haven't seen any. It hasn't. It's at the same level as many years ago. It doesn't go down. So what I'm trying to say is that if you live a healthy lifestyle, you should, in most cases, have no need for testosterone. You have enough in your body. But also, I know why people are writing this. It's because they want big muscles fast. And there's a weakness in that, in my mind. I see it as a weakness. Um, so you should have some discipline, you know, because when you, it's not good for you. It is not good for you. It's not healthy. Having said that, also there are clearly in some cases the right thing to do, but it needs to be prescribed by a doctor, and it's not that's that can't be compared to what the bodybuilders in gyms and so on are doing, of course. Um, so okay, so just stay healthy, stay away from toxic substances and soy. Just eat proper food. It's not. This is not complicated. Eat proper food and lift heavy weights. That's all. And yeah, okay. So yes, I know this video can be answered in 2 seconds. No, and so I guess it's a little bit clickbaity, but I have tried to explain why. You know. So um, okay. So it is clearly not fair, the rules that the IOC is are using, and they need to change those. Um, we need to change those rules. Okay. Um, Now, okay, I'm forgetting my next thing here. Yeah, okay. Let me. While I'm thinking about that, hopefully I will remember, but I will just take a look at the chat. Um, um, okay, I know at this time of the day it is very early here um, in America. It's very late, so I guess you get the trolls and I don't know what to call them. Um, yeah, well, Mick Adams, the Chinese swimming team, and did they get caught using testosterone? I think China is. This is I don't have any proof for this, but when you look at Chinese girls and their weightlifting, powerlifting, and swimming as well, and their physiques, they are on steroids. Clearly, they are cheating. Because if you think about it, Chinese people are small. It's yeah, they are cheating. I think they're following the same methodology as the Soviet Union did back in those days. And it's a tragedy, basically. Um, so um, now let me scroll up a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, yes, of course, creative by nature studio. If the testosterone level is low, you still know that you're a man. Yes, of course, of course. Um, okay, let's see. Yeah, well, thank you again, Creative by Nature Studio. Many people in the chat these days. Well, right now, not so many, but yeah, these chats they do get demonetized by YouTube now and then. Um, that's uh, that's YouTube for you. Charlie is asking how many women can bench press 400 pounds a couple times. 2 reps at 400 pounds. Let's see. Is that the 180 kilos or something like that? No, women can't do that. That's I don't think I've ever seen that ever. Well, I have seen it on like I've heard about it and not, but they're all on steroids. That's unnatural for a woman to do that. Um, okay. Thank you, Jen. Yes, a like would be appreciated. Absolutely. um, and let me just mention. Yes, yes. Here is one thing that I forgot to say. There are sports where you inflict violence on the other competitor. They might call it something different, but that's what they do. Um, Martial arts, boxing, so on. And when they allow biological males to compete against women in those sports, the result is devastating most of the time. It is not politically correct to say this, but there is a reason. uh, how should I put it? Up through human history, women have not been the warriors. Men have been the warriors and soldiers, and there is a reason for that. Now, women are being drafted. I think that practice is evil anyway, but also women are being subjected to that thing. They just own you for a year or something like that. But they can do that now to some extent because it's all very technological, right? Um, and when you have biological males with testosterone level of just below 10 nmol/L, um, they get beaten up. Those women get beaten up. It's a horrible thing to see. And yeah. So um, now, okay. Also, I will say that some women will say that they are stronger than men, especially women in powerlifting will say that they are stronger than most men, which is correct. They are. Um, they can typically bench press, maybe 100 kilos or more, and they will squat and deadlift a lot, and a lot more than most men. And it is obviously correct that they are stronger than most men. But what they are doing is comparing a powerlifter, a female powerlifter, with a non powerlifting male. If that male had been training powerlifting, he would have gotten a lot stronger very fast, a lot stronger than them, which is so you're comparing what's the term, like apples with oranges or something like that. Um, and so yes, it is correct that they are stronger than most men, but they are not stronger than the men in their sport, right? Um, and Pierre Dorinsky says women's bone is not as dense as a man's; they break bones easily. Well, I tend to disagree. Did you know? And I can tell you something here. They did some research on the female Norwegian some years ago. This was a few years ago. Female Norwegian national team in powerlifting. Bone density. They were off the scale, so dense that they were off the scale, actually. Um, so, yeah. Um, okay. Let's see here. I'll try to respond to the chat now. Um, okay, I'll scroll up a little bit. Yes, Vincent, you never see female powerlifters competing against male powerlifters. Yeah, and that's at least here in Norway, and I'm pretty sure in IPF, which is the supposedly drug-free federation, International Powerlifting Federation. Um, they do not allow, or last time I checked, they did not allow biological males competing against women. um, yes, exactly, Jen. Yes, exactly. Now, only last night I was at the local powerlifting gym and I saw women there uh, bench pressing and squatting a lot more than the common tough guy in the street, if you know what I mean. Um, because of the training, dedicated training, and um, that's just a fact, you know. Um, so now, what will this lead to if we allow, and we do, biological males competing against women in women's sports? What will it lead to? I will tell you because we all know this. Well, I will tell you because I'm the one speaking here in this live stream, and you will write what will happen in the chat. Women will stop competing because in those sports, you get to a point in your you get to a point where you start asking yourself, what's the point, you know? And I can tell you that for me, I can relate to that, but because for me, I said the IPF, my federation, is supposedly drug free, but I could tell you horror stories. I have competed. I competed internationally quite a lot, and especially the lifters from Eastern Europe. I think. Well, I know they. No, I can't prove it because um, only if you have, like, they get caught, then you can. That's proof. But you can kind of tell by their physique and all that. Um, so at one point, I had to ask myself, what's the point for me? I have already won what I can win. I can't get any further because I'm always competing against people who are, well, who are on drugs or testosterone. They are cheating, you know? And so what's the point continuing competing? And that is what I had to ask myself. And I got to, at that point in my life, I kind of, the answer was there is no point. Now things are a little bit different because I'm in the master's class, and I would guess that the incentive for taking, testosterone and so on and cheating is not that great. I mean, why? I want to remain a little bit naive for as long as I can on this one. Uh, I, why would you do that if you're 50 years plus, you know? But I'm sure there are people who do that. But anyway, yes, I'm getting back to competing. Um, so I can relate because these women, they will ask themselves, what's the point? What's the point of spending all these hours every day doing this activity, doing this sport, pushing yourself, and also the diet? It's a constant thing. You need to watch your diet and so on and so on. What's the point? And you go there, and they go there, and they compete against a biological male who is just a mediocre athlete, and he wins easily. So they will. I see this devastating women's sport, and they need to stop it. And again, this is not me being cruel. It's not me being, what's the word? There is a word, transphobic, I think. It's just me being honest about what this is about, and it's not fair. It's not fair. And it's not a human right to compete in sports. It really is not. And some people, quite a lot of people, are saying that they should have a separate class. I don't think so. That a separate trans class. Um, I don't see why they should do that because here's what I think: if someone chooses to, you know, take hormones and so on, and to appear as the other sex, the same rules. First of all, the same rules should apply. If any of those hormones are uh, on the doping list, well, then you can't compete, or you must be well, then you can't compete, or you will be shut out from competition, um, and you need to compete in the class that you are biologically in. So anyone born female must compete in the female class, women's class. I mean, anyone born male must compete in the men's class. And if anyone is uncomfortable with that, well, then you can't compete. It's like I can't compete in the what we call the open class, which is most often younger people. Um, at their prime in powerlifting, you will be in your prime in your 30s, late 30s. Um, and I'm not. So, and it's not like I can demand to compete against those people. It's nature. I'm older than that. I'm a lot older. So it's not. It's like, should I then just demand to compete? That no, I can't. Why would I do that? You know. Um, so, um, Yeah. Yeah, well, I actually think that women taking testosterone is the most horrible thing. It's even worse. Um, I, for me, I think because as a man, um, I like women. uh, um, and it's like you know, I think it's such a shame. It's a shame to change a woman into something that assembled looks like a man. It's just sad. You know. Um, yeah. Well, Jason Kennedy Hidden World's Photography is saying most will never understand Bjorn unless they've actually been in professional sports. Ignorance is a hell of a thing. Yeah. Um, it's I think most people do not get the dedication that goes into it. Um, it consumes your entire life, your 24/7, everything you eat, everything you do, and there's a lot of things you don't do because it could affect your workout the day after and so on. Not talking about going out, getting drunk or anything like that, but even staying up late, you know, um, you don't do that. Okay. Um, okay. Yeah, and then there is this idea that we should have no rules. We should have one class, and people could take whatever performance enhancing drugs that they want. That's a horrible idea. It's a very bad idea, and I'll tell you why. It might seem like the logical option for some people, but it's not. And I'll tell you why. There are many reasons. Uh, but mainly because of this. Mainly because of the following: you would see people dying in almost every competition because if you do not have rules against that, if you say that no, we don't care, take whatever drug you want, you must understand that there's a lot of money involved. And if you look at nations where they historically have cheated, um, it's like littered with human tragedy. Um, you would see people dying of heart failure. You would see people dying of, well, taking, suicide because of the depression that comes with the abuse of these substances. Um, you would see aggression. You would see violence. You would see people completely ruining their lives. Um, taking testosterone at the level that, for instance, professional bodybuilders do. I will say something that people don't want to hear. It destroys their lives and it changes their mood. It changes their behavior. It makes them violent. It makes them unable to control themselves. No, I am not talking about testosterone replacement theory, not theory, therapy. I'm talking about because that will be administered by a professional physician. Um, I'm talking about what you will see in sports. I've seen people, lifters with acne on their back that looked like they had some kind of plague, some kind of horrible skin disease. I don't know how to describe it, but if you acne the size of grapes covering the entire back, um, and you need to understand that we need to have rules, and those rules are there to protect the athletes from being exploited by their nations like China, you know. I would be interested in knowing what kind of life these girls with big, beefy arms and lifting. I would those girls. I would be interested in knowing what kind of life they have 10 years from now. Probably they will be struggling with mental issues, and some of them will not be able to be mothers. You know. Uh, yeah. Also, these guys on steroids. They what happens there um, is in many cases that they have to keep taking something to avoid becoming impotent. Actually, so it is. I will say this. It is because it's in popular culture, you see these actors and so on being used as examples of masculine men, like take The Rock, for instance, Dwayne Johnson, something like that, and most people don't realize that their natural testosterone production is probably at the level of a 14-year-old girl. Yeah, that's the tough masculine man that people think are, oh, these are real men. Hormonically speaking, they are not. They are not even men, hormonically speaking, because they take and have taken for many, many years testosterone artificially, so their body has stopped producing it. And as you may know, I am quite concerned with preparedness and being self sufficient. I will say that if you're dependent on testosterone, well, you will be in it, it will be hell for you if society breaks down. It will be hell because you won't get it anymore, and you will have all the consequences of getting off of that. Um, so I am very happy to say that I have never taken any steroids, and I'm a lifetime drug-free athlete. Um, and yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Gary. That's kind of you. Very kind of you. Thank you for that super chat. Um, so, okay. The Ploracle says masculine is not about looks, it's about behavior. Yeah, I agree. Mm. Um, Sotonar says most people can barely realize the real difference between the produced fantasies they watch and reality anymore. Yeah, um, it's um, it's true, um, and also it's quite funny how people in general have this strange perception of the human body. uh, and it's like you know how a very strong man looks. Like if you take away the weight class thing, maximum strength, that will be a fat man actually. Not only that, but the strongest man that I've ever known and seen. I've known some on the national team and so on. They're they have a big belly. You know, they all do. You know. Um, so okay. Um, yeah, I have a good memory. I've seen Mike Tyson for some reason being hailed as this wise old man. That's that's funny. Um, And I do remember that and now it's it's like he's not, and he was on steroids, by the way. He admitted that. You can look it up yourself. So it's and also he's a drug addict, but you don't want to hear that, do you? Um, yeah, so you have to be in calorie surplus to most of the time to gain power and strength. Um, so yeah, now back to the topic. Um, we don't need to, and um, we should not listen to those people who are trying to say that because of the low testosterone levels, it is fair to have transgender men. Or no, that's what is that the other one? Um, a biological male that wants to appear as a woman competing in women's sports. Because, and I will repeat this, the limit, according to the IOC, is 10 nmol/l. Um, and most women have between 0.5 and 2.4 nmol/l. Okay, so more than 4 times that can these people have. Can you imagine if you, as a man, competed against someone in a power or strength sport uh, with 4 times your testosterone level? Well, actually, we can um, imagine that because that would be competing against someone on drugs, on testosterone, and that's illegal. If they get caught, they get banned from the sport. So clearly, it's not fair when you allow those people in women's sports. And also, um, yeah, exactly. Monk E man 10 NMOL. Or did you? Yeah. So is that 288.5 ng/dl, just under the healthy range for men? Exactly. Probably average these days. Yes. And I've read that there are lots of men who have less than that level, and they appear as men. They have a normal sexual life, and they have they don't have a problem with it. But I would say, in my personal opinion, that I think it's unhealthy to have that such a low level. But also, there is another issue here that we need to also address. There's a difference between free testosterone in your body and your total level. Um, but that's not really, we won't get into that too much because it's not necessary right now. Um, okay. Uh, Okay. Yeah, and you know there are, you can raise your testosterone level. It's, did you know that there are things that make your testosterone level go up um, immediately. Um, if you live with a woman when she's on her, during her fertile days in the month, your testosterone level will probably be much higher. That's nature. That's how nature works. It's all it's, you know, it's, yeah. When you think about it, it's easy to understand why. You know, um, yeah. Cascadia says even an 85-year-old male has a lot more muscle mass than the average female. Well, if you're talking about a healthy, active 85-year-old male, it's absolutely possible, at least, that they will have more muscle mass than the average female. Absolutely possible. Um, yeah, Bren, Helen, I have to read that. How a doctor will explain a man trans if he has a prostate problem. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and also, and I've talked about this on my main channel. It's an epidemic, the sinking testosterone level. It really is. It's a problem. Um, it it's it's a problem, and well, so what happens when you have a low testosterone level as a man? Well, you are there's a lot of, you're at risk of getting a lot of diseases. You get depressed more easily. You could even it could even affect your sexual function. Well, it will probably do that. um, and um, so it's not good to have a low testosterone level. um, okay. Yeah, we don't know, Vincent. We don't know exactly why, but I think there are many reasons for it. Microplastics and all those. Yeah, seed oil certainly, and yeah, also I think maybe I don't have any proof for this, but I suspect the radiation from cell phones and cell phone towers. Um, Mr. Pearljack is asking, how do this not affect women's rights in general? Well, clearly it does affect women's rights. Um, so, yeah, inactive lifestyle also contributes to lowering the testosterone level in men, and obesity, because the more body fat you have, the more what's the it's a name, they call it something when it, if you have a lot of body fat, a lot of the testosterone get transformed into actually something that acts as estrogen, and uh, yeah, yeah. There's a process there that it has a name. So yeah. um, Yeah. So again, it all boils down to, when it comes to testosterone, that just try to live a healthy, active lifestyle, and it is not so complicated. Um, and and by the way, women need a healthy testosterone level too. And as I said several times now, we know in which range women should have their testosterone level. And if it's very low, it affects women. It should be low, but if it's outside of or lower than the lower limit there, it is it's not healthy. So yeah, in Norway right now it is about 6:30 in the morning. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I very concerning. Let's just. I'm going to end this live stream soon, but let's just mention the food recommendations from like the World Health Organization and so on. Um, it's they have this thing where they are trying to portray, and let's, for the sake of the argument, say that their recommended food is better for the environment. Let's, for the sake of the argument, okay? I don't think it's true, by the way, but let's just say that for the sake of the argument. So if we eat like they recommend, it's better for the environment, right? And they try to portray that as being the healthiest option for us as well. How is it that those two things are the same? How is it that food supposedly good for the environment is also the best food for you? That's a funny coincidence, isn't it? How great it is that those two things line up, and those eating for the environment and eating for your health leads to the same diet. Isn't that great? Isn't that great and wonderful? Um, in fact, we do know quite a lot about diet. It is difficult to do proper research on diet because you would have to close people inside a laboratory and keep them there for days and weeks, and you can't really do that. But we do know quite a bit. We still know quite a bit. Um, we know that, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to provoke some people. A vegan diet is not a healthy diet. You can be healthy in spite of being vegan, absolutely. Um, I'm not having a go at the vegans here, but I respect your choice there. But it is not the healthiest option. The healthiest option is a diet that consists of where you have a multitude of foods. For most people, that's the healthiest option. Some have allergies and food intolerance and so on. But if you have a diet with a lot of meat, red meat, fish, not farmed fish, okay? You have vegetables there. You Americans, you call them organic. So we know, like grown without the chemicals and all that, restrict your carbohydrate intake. We have this idea, we eat so much carbs that it's sick, and we get sick from it. Healthy fats and healthy fats are not the plant fats, actually, because you get inflammation in your body from that. Most people in the world need to stay away from dairy, like milk, so on. I'm one of those. And that's it. If you keep eating like that, you will be, probably, it's good for your health. you know Stay away from those ultra processed foods. And also I will say that stay away from refined sugar. I don't I I love my sodas, too much. I should drink less of those. But at least I'm not going to pretend it's healthy. Okay. um, so that's it. Filter your water with a good filter that takes away the microplastics. That's it. It's not very complicated. Um, and if you look at how humans have evolved, you know, that is basically a collection of the foods that people have historically eaten when they have a surplus of food and calories, and that's what makes you healthy. HS Flow, thanks a lot for the super chat. My favorite foods. Well, I actually like steak. That's my favorite. I'm a very simple man. I like steak. Um, and yes, God knows is saying that I'm on a seafood diet. I seafood and eat it. Yes, exactly. I can tell you something that from powerlifting, if you have weeks, well, let's say you have 10 weeks, for instance, and you have a lot of training, heavy training, a lot. In my experience, I just have to eat all the time. I eat a lot when I do that, and I'm in one of those training blocks now, and I just have to eat. I can't. I get injured if I don't eat a lot during those training blocks there. Um, you just need to feed your body everything that it needs, and yeah, um, yeah. A lot of people when they go on a carnivore diet feel better, and I think that's where you should start if you have any sort of problems with food intolerance. I would say go 2 weeks eating only red meat and see what happens. Not saying that you should eat only red meat for the rest of your life. Well, some people do, but not saying that. But just try that for 2 weeks because it will open your eyes, and also it's fantastic for shedding body fat. Um, okay, Creative by Nature Studios has been on carnivore diet for 3 years. Myself, I tried to be on a carnivore diet, but I feel that I don't get enough. Uh, I don't get enough calories now that I'm training very hard. I don't get enough calories from that actually. Um, so I also consume quite a lot of carbs now. But the carbs, it's just to gain weight. You know, when the body demands to gain weight from because of the lifting, carbs. Yeah, carbs are to gain weight. That's what they're for. That's the way I see it. um, well, thank you, Jen, for helping out here. Um, and yes, thank you. Okay. Uh, let's see here. Yeah. Well, Alan, I think we all, as human beings, we love sugar and carbs. It's natural because in nature it's not so common to come across it. So when we find it, I think we are, and this was a theory that a friend of mine here on YouTube, Tree Man, he said that So when we come across it in nature, it's like we have to eat it, and we have still that instinct, I think. Kyle, says, "Oh, thanks for the super chat." Says, as a night shift police officer who lifts, I feel depleted without plenty of meat. Yeah, I can understand that. Red meat, yes, Patricia, it is so expensive now. Yeah. And it's absolutely, and this is a topic in itself. They want us to not eat red meat. Um, and that is one of the things that provoke me a lot. When they say that red meat, you get cancer from red meat and so on, because they are lying. And the research done on meat and cancer has been done on things like sausages. Sausages are not red meat, you know? So, yeah. Um, Step Down NL, thanks a lot for the donation. Is asking, is the trans thing as a movement a stepping stone towards trans post humanism, in your opinion? No, no, I don't think so. Um, that's the answer. In my opinion, no. So, okay. Channel 3 says meat rots in your intestines for days, turns acidic. Are you being funny? Okay. Yeah, I've heard all of that. No, that's um, please uh, look more into how human beings digest food. You need to understand how that happens and how it works. I think that should be a good place to start. Okay. Um, are we really getting hate from the vegans here? I think that's unfair because I've not been intolerant or said anything bad about vegans here. I'm not going to do that because it's childish and silly. So please be better than this, okay? Um, if you eat meat, you absorb that negative energy. Okay. No, you don't. It's just a piece of muscle and possibly some fats and stuff that you're eating. It's very simple. That's what you eat. Okay. I will say that I do not support. Well, actually, with my money, you could call me a hypocrite because with my money, I support industrial farming, and I should not do that. If I could choose, I would only buy um, meat from animals that had a good life, either on a farm or out in the wild. Um, and people will say go hunting and so on. Yeah, I know, but I'm again, I if you criticize me as a meat eater for not hunting, you are right. You are right. I will take that criticism, but I will not have unscientific nonsense here. Okay, okay. So please don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, Pete is asking, do you support lab created meat or seafood? Those I don't know what you mean there by seafood. Well, fish. I eat fish, but lab created meat. So that's a topic of much hatred, a subject of much hatred. Okay, um, and I looked into that many years ago, and I will tell you two things, and you need to follow me through here. Okay, the technology of growing meat in a lab, the technology in itself is safe. Actually, follow me through here. The technology is safe, and it's not genetically modified meat. If th- th- that's something different, okay? So you can do that, and it will be safe, no problem. The problem is that these companies doing this, well, look who's doing this. I mean, Bill Gates invested heavily in this. It's like I will not trust Bill Gates. So it's that's a big tragedy because actually it could be a good thing. But then the problem is, again, the technology in it's safe in itself. It's safe, but we can't trust. I feel I can't trust the people doing it. So I hope that you follow my reasoning there. Um, so let's see here. Yeah, well, yeah, channel 3, it will just have a little R N and then A in them. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. But okay. Um, Step down. Thanks for the donation. Planning to enroll in women's sports. Okay. I will have to let you figure out the answer there yourself, I guess. Um, yeah. Well, diet matters. What you eat matters. Um, okay. Yeah. Well, again, why am I saying that lab created? Well, lab created meat could be a good thing. It could be a good thing, actually. Yeah, could be a good thing. And again, if you need to follow me through here in my train of thought here. The technology itself, it's safe. It is just that you can't trust the people. I think you can't trust the people who are doing it. But we're way off topic now. Um, so yeah. Now Ricardo says I don't trust it. I agree. I agree. Um, but okay. I'm going to end this live stream now, and I want to thank you all for joining and for your comments and all that. Thank you, Curtis, and have a nice day. Um, if if you're not already a subscriber to this channel, then please consider subscribing.